Today marks the 18th video. I could have done better. I think the biggest challenge has been being consistent. My focus for this period has really been color. I've really been enjoying messing with color. I think specifically creative, consistent colors across cameras, more advanced color science. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a peek behind the curtain at what I've been messing with. I filmed using 3 different formats: Rec 709 from my phone, Rec 709 from my camera, and S-Log3 Sony Gamma from my camera. Here's an example of the footage from my camera roll, and I really wanted to include them in a more filmic way as part of my video series. So this is the system I've been using with Rec 709 camera footage. So at the beginning, I convert the space to davinci wide gamut and davinci intermediate, and then at the end, I will just convert it back to Rec 709. My timeline I've set to Rec 709 scene. That works best with QuickTime and Instagram in terms of colors that I found. Then I add a LUT. LUTs tend to work really well inside the Resolve expanded color space. Basically, the Resolve color space expands the space that you're allowed to edit in, and it just gives you more space to be able to adjust colors and gamma. In this first node, I just applied a LUT. I have this pack by Vincent, and it kind of gives you a really good selection of different colors that you might want to use. And then once that's applied, just over here, I just pull down the gain to something that I like, not too in your face. I like my clips fairly warm, so I'll just pull the temperature up. In this node, I just did a bit of color correction on the LUT, and then applied some lift just in the shadows. And then I'd say this node is also really important just for that filmic look. It's just a bit of vignette using the mask. Here's before and after. Then we have, so I tended to use that for quite a lot of my just camera footage. A lot of what I'm doing is trying to get what I want from the picture, and that includes using the LUT as a tool. Here's another one just over here. These are really nice colors that I was able to get out of S-Log and S-Gamma, and here are the nodes for that video. So here what I ended up doing was just using S-Log straight on top of the S-Log and S-Gamma, and then ignore these 2 nodes. Then what I did was something that I really like doing. It's a really nice way to adjust colors in Resolve. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but it really gives it a filmic look, this way of adjusting colors. So what you want to do is create a new node, change the color space to HSL, and then you want to disable channels 1 and 3. And what that does is it allows you to change colors change colors based on where they sit in the scopes, and it doesn't affect the brightness of the colors. So it really gives you a more filmic color editing experience. Watch what happens when I push up the lifts. So this will be all the dark places that I'm adjusting, right in the middle, the midtones. It gives you a lot more control over what you're doing. And these are the highlights, so have a look. So this is before and after editing the node. Really nice. So that's one of my favorite ways to edit color. And then lastly, this last video, I recorded in Rec 709 on my Sony. This is how it looked straight out of camera, which is quite nice. And then with some warmth and just pulling down the highlights, I really got a nice, I actually really like these colors. But what I was going for in this video was an ARI look. So what I did was convert it to ARI and then convert it back using Resolve's built-in ARI LUT. So let me show you before and after enabling these nodes. And then just in the middle, these are all adjustments to get it to look the way I wanted it to look. ARI is a lot more green. I don't know if I particularly like the ARI look, but I wanted to mess around and see if I liked it. So all I have here is just color, brightness adjustments, and something else that I did that was quite nice is just to use a bit of Gaussian blur, and that made quite a nice difference. And then in this video I just added some film flicker that I purchased and some 8mm film grain that I purchased on top, just in darker color composite mode and linear bird for the flicker. So I'm quite happy with my progress in terms of color. I think I might want to play around a bit with my own color transforms, turning those into LUTs, but I feel like I have enough experience editing in Lightroom. I think my next phase of this video series will be focusing on story, which is so important, and there are a few different ways that you can do story, so I'll definitely be experimenting with that, so stay tuned.